Hi, everybody. This is Becky. I'm here with Celeste Gotell and Julie Freeman, and we're going to have a great talk today about an exciting new project these two ladies are working on. So it's, I think, in conjunction with the Seniors Take Action Coalition. So Celeste, can you tell me a bit about that group?
Absolutely. By the way, I just want to let people know that I'm actually not sitting on a beach somewhere in the Caribbean. This is just one of the wonderful features that one can access through virtual Zoom. So just everyone can calm down. I'm not, not anywhere and then coming back and not isolating. So I'm sitting in my home in Antigonish. Becky's in Arashat and Julie is in Lordways, and we're having this wonderful conversation. So Seniors Take Action Coalition, many people probably have heard about it over the years. It's been around for about 5 years now, Becky. We started in January of 2016. And essentially, it's a group of concerned people within Richmond County, many of whom are seniors, but others are working with organizations that provide services to seniors or are interested in seniors' issues. And we come together monthly. It's set up as a coalition. So what that means is that it's not a registered not-for-profit. So it's really just a group of people that come together, bring issues forward, celebrate the contribution of older adults in our community. Keeping in mind that we're very mindful of the fact that Richmond County has close to 50% of its population being 55 years of age and over. So we want to just raise the issues that of things that affect seniors, but also raise the importance of the contribution seniors make to our community. Wow. So if you want to get involved, it's easy to do that, and we could talk about that later.
Right on. Well, I mean, it's a very important topic. I kind of think about I have to think back to what it must have been like, 100 years ago when all ladies were getting together in either their church groups or their quilting groups and, supporting the community even then in their own way. But the way the technology has gone today, there's so much more that we can offer each other. And I think it's fantastic that this group of seniors is doing what they're doing, because I find out a lot of things, the seniors group. So, right. And myself, well, I'm a senior. So, hey. So now the new project that you're working on, or you're spearheading, is the newsletter. It's a newsletter. Now, how cool is that? Now, can you tell me, why did you decide to do that?
Well, it's interesting, Becky, because one of the things that we've been hearing since we formed the coalition 5 years ago is that people don't know what's going on. And despite the fact that we have all kinds of Facebook accounts and the Reporter and the Hawk and Richmond Reflections, there's still a lot of people that don't really know what's going on. So that's one thing. Now, recently, Richmond County municipality underwent a planning for age-friendly communities. And one of the main components of an age-friendly community is awareness and communication. So making sure that people are aware and that they're communicated with will ensure that they participate. And if they participate, it'll improve their quality of life and it'll reduce social isolation. So we thought one of the priorities that was identified for the coalition some years ago was to improve the communication among seniors and older adults in Richmond County. So we finally kind of found ourselves in a position where we had some expertise at the table, including Julie, and I had the ability to be able to spend some time to develop a newsletter. So we kind of came up with this idea that we would develop a newsletter that we could disseminate 4 times a year to anybody who wants to receive it. And it would be, a way of us kind of contributing to increasing knowledge and awareness in Richmond County.
So, Julie, what are the main goals for the newsletter?
I think really, Becky, to be a connector, sort of to connect people to each other, to connect age groups to each other, to connect people to information, and a lot about celebrating our seniors. We have such a large population of seniors here. but I think they need to be celebrated. I think they're often not lifted up enough. They're treated almost as almost sidelined in many ways, or just as a care group, but they contribute so much to the richness of the culture here in the society. So this is a lot about celebrating that.
Well, personally, I like the whole idea of the newsletter because I think that it's important to see all the information geared at that age group in one place. It becomes difficult to navigate, especially I'm assuming, I figure if you're a senior who's not computer literate yet, or you're just learning, or you never really know what you're doing. And sometimes you probably feel like, oh, gee, I don't want to ask. I might look silly So I think it's really great that you're doing this. This is fantastic. Great plan. So the newsletter is called Better with Age. What does that signify for you? Like, what's the thought behind that, Celeste?
Well, Becky, we actually had a contest. We ran a contest asking for submissions for a newsletter name, and we had about 38 different newsletter names that were submitted from a wide variety of people from throughout Richmond County. And that was kind of where we ended up at the end of the day through a process of elimination. We had a committee of 5 people that really kind of started to talk about, what is the key message here? What is it we want to be communicating? And we ruled out all kinds of other scenarios because we didn't want to only think that the newsletter was for seniors, for example. Like, we wanted anyone to be able to read it. So anything that had a name like seniors in it was kind of ruled out for that. And then at the same time, we didn't want to use the name seniors only because a lot of people take exception to being called a senior. So, like, I'm an older adult. I don't call myself a senior yet because I don't think I deserve the honor to be called a senior. I still have a lot more to learn before I can call myself a senior or an elder. But yeah, so when we talked through kind of what we wanted to achieve from the newsletter was really about we get better with age. We become wiser, we gain more experience, we have so much more to contribute in the years that we look forward to. So we just kind of wanted to make that pretty strong statement that, folks, yeah, we're better with age.
Yeah. Well, I have looked through the pages of this newsletter and I'm quite impressed, I have to say.
Good.
I'll probably come up with ideas that I send anyway, because that's just the way I am.
Great.
So now, what kinds of things will people see as content in this newsletter?
I think it's always going to be fluid, isn't it, Celeste? I think this is your brainchild, but I think you've always seen it that way, that the content is almost going to be driven by what our audience wants to see. And because we are hoping to appeal to all age groups, most people have seniors, at least a senior in their family, or living with them or close to them, or about to become a senior, or will eventually become a senior. And so the content is relevant to everyone. Times are changing and things are changing for seniors, and it behooves everyone to be aware of the things that are, the needs that are changing and how everyone would want to be aware of that. So I think our audience is everybody.
I think it's kind of really important that everybody reads the newsletter, because it certainly gives us a sneak peek into things and maybe develops a better understanding between the seniors and those who are not quite senior, or the younger people who, like you say, have these people in their families. You have to learn a lot of times. I remember when I was a kid, we'd say, oh, gee, they're old, but really and truly, the wisdom that we've taken away after they're gone. For example, I know that I probably quote my grandmother at least 5 times a week, and I think I do that in celebration of her. But I think it's really important that the young people get a glimpse into what it is that they're going to be dealing with, because we all grow older.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think as Julie said, the content will change in every issue, but there'll also be some constants that we'll probably include in our issues, because it's always going to be important for us to communicate some of the services that are available for people. And one of the key features in the newsletter is something we're calling "Who are the people in your neighborhood," which we'll talk about a little bit later. But and then, of course, we're always going to want to give a little bit of kind of insight to folks about what Seniors Take Action Coalition is up to as well, because I mean, it is Seniors Take Action Coalition that is doing the newsletter. So it's a way of kind of spreading information about what we're up to as well.
Yes, and you guys are up to a lot. The group is quite active, very active, and I think that's fantastic. Also, I mean, kind of shows you what a group of seniors can do when they get together. It's the beauty in number. There's
Yeah, for sure.
they're beautiful. So your target audience, Julia, obviously is everybody.
It is.
Well, that's perfect. That is perfect. So how is this newsletter going to be distributed?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Seniors Take Action Coalition, as I mentioned at the beginning, is a coalition. So it doesn't have a bank account. It's a group of people that come together and work on common goals. So we don't have the budget, if you will, to be disseminating a hard copy of the newsletter. So we opted to go with what's called an electronic newsletter. And although we recognize that not everybody has internet and not everyone will be able to access it in that way. So as time goes on, we're going to be looking at developing ways to partner to actually get some printed copies available. In fact, we've already begun discussions with a few of our partners to make some available. But we also are really wanting to encourage people to sign up for the newsletter, because it is an electronic copy. There's a couple of varieties and formats that people will be able to receive it in. So we recognize that in some locations, bandwidth is not really great. So the expertise that Julie has brought into this project has been phenomenal, and that she has the technical expertise to take everything that's developed in what would appear to be the hard copy newsletter and transport that into an email, so that somebody can actually receive an email and read everything that was in the newsletter. Or alternatively, if they want to, they can download a PDF version of the newsletter and then print it or read that in the format that I developed it in our kind of design program. So there's different ways that people can receive it. And as I said, there will be limited copies available, and we're still working out the details with our various partners for people that really have no access and would like to get a copy. One of the other things we'll be asking is for service clubs, or all the seniors clubs in Richmond County, of which we have many, all to take responsibility. Like, they know the people in their club that don't have internet. Make a few copies and make sure they get a copy. All those young people that all have access to the internet and have printers at home, make a copy, register for the newsletter, make a copy, give one to your grandmother, give one to your aunt. So that's how we can involve the generations, is to get the newsletter, make a copy. Even if you don't want to read it, give it to somebody who will.
Well, in Telile's case, I've already made the decision before you even started mentioning that I'm going to be printing off some hard copies and leaving them on the desk for when our bingo players come in.
That's wonderful.
Because they do come in, and most certainly I could definitely, make sure that there's copies here for them, or if they needed one, they could always come to Telile and I'd be happy to print one off for them.
Yeah, and I'm hoping lots of people will do that, and I'm hoping that some of our local businesses will do that,
Right.
like the drug stores, maybe even some of our doctors' offices will make a couple copies, and that way no one organization bears the responsibility. It becomes a way that we work together collectively.
And that's the way it should be, especially right now.
Exactly.
I've heard tell of, actually, I was talking to somebody through Stella Maris, and she had mentioned that they had printed off some bulletins and they'd put them in the church. And because of COVID and somebody had been kind of rifling through them, the other parishioners wouldn't pick them up because they were, they were nervous. And rightfully so. I mean, we are in a pandemic. So,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking that, the online version and being able to get it through your email is probably a really, really good idea as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Good.
Yeah. So now one of the features in your newsletter is called "Who are the people in your neighborhood?" Can you tell me more about that one?
Well, I mean, I've always been a fan of Sesame Street, who are the people in your neighborhood? That song just kind of always kind of plays in my head. So we came up with this idea because we really, as Julie mentioned earlier, we really want to celebrate the contribution of older adults to our community. And Richmond County is rich with people who have got so much expertise and talent and skill and vision and commitment and passion that we just wanted to start to celebrate that and to introduce those people in a way that they deserve to be introduced. So we recognize that there's three groups of people. One is people who are from the area and have essentially remained in the area. Then we've got folks like myself who are from the area and kind of effectively have returned to the area, although I'm not completely back in Richmond County. One of my foot is always in the door. And then we've got people like Julie who came from away and somehow managed to find their way to Richmond County. So we want to be able to kind of honor all three. And we started off with Robert because Robert has been a member of our coalition for 5 years. He came to the first meeting. He was one of the first people I contacted in 2015 to organize the first conference that we held, and has been a faithful, loyal volunteer with Seniors Take Action ever since, and is somebody who is well known in Richmond County for his contribution. So we started off with Robert. And
Good
then,
choice.
yeah. And then Julie.
And well, I'm new to, as Celeste said,
Yeah.
I'm new to the Maritimes. I mean, I had never been set foot in the Maritimes
Wow.
until a couple of years ago, and we brought our boat down from Lake Ontario, and well, from Lake Huron actually, and just fell in love with it here. Boat now lives at St. Peter's Marina, and we bought a house in the area and just fell in love. Moved in a year ago in last October. So one of the things that just hit us immediately, because always there's a thing about moving into a newer area, will we ever get to know people? And this is not remote, but it's certainly not downtown Toronto. It's a very quiet area, and and then the epidemic hit. So how do we get to know people? You know what, people reached out to us and made us feel so welcome, and touched our hearts in ways I don't even, there's no time for me to tell you how people have accepted us and touched our hearts. And so I got involved in this group through a local group called the Lord Ways Jolly Club, and another little seniors group that does great work. And it's all about supporting each other in the community. It's all about fundraising and doing meals to help people and all kinds of activities. And so they brought me along to to one of the meetings for the Seniors Take Action Coalition, and in listening to what's going on, it seemed like something that I could help to, I could do something.
Well, and exactly. And I think this newsletter, in the way that we've decided to do it, would not have happened if it hadn't been for Julie's skill set, because I knew I could produce a newsletter, but I certainly didn't have the skills, the technical skills to do what she's doing. So we've been working together since then. And I mean, again, she came to a meeting and she's now become an active volunteer within Seniors Take Action. So I'm thrilled.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Julie, volunteers in Richmond County are the true heroes of community. And without our dedicated, and very dedicated volunteers, wouldn't be such a beautiful place. Although it's pretty to look at, it, it really is enhanced by the fact that you have a welcoming community around you.
Yes.
And most people that I've heard that like that come from other places and come here and fall in love, it's for exactly the same reason that you're speaking of. So that's pretty interesting.
And everybody has a story, Becky. Everybody's got a story.
Oh yes.
And they're great stories, you know, and some of them, the history of the area and the culture, the beauty, you know, you're using that word, and the beauty of the people here is in the stories. And so, you know, Celeste you know, we have a place now in this newsletter where we can celebrate that and, you know, showcase someone every edition. We'll have someone's story out there.
Well, I'll tell you the kind of story I would like to see. This is my suggestion.
Sure.
And it's because of you, Julie, that I'm coming up with this one. It would be nice to have a letter from somebody who has moved here from another place saying why they like being a part of the seniors population.
Yes.
Or even the population in general.
Yes.
That would be nice because it would make that people, you know, though that person a part of, you know, aware, raise awareness in the community to who that person actually is, without just seeing somebody on the street. You know, you can go into any volunteer event, and you can look around, you see all these volunteers, but you really don't know them. You know, and there's so much, you're right, Celeste, so much that the elderly and the older generation have to offer.
Yeah.
You know? And there is nothing they can't do if they put their minds to it.
Well, you know, it's interesting because as we were saying earlier, you know, I think what we're going to experience with the newsletter is a high level of kind of flexibility and creativity. And even though who are the people in the neighborhood is going to be a constant feature, the way that we deliver that may be very different. In this issue, it was done in a certain way, but in the next issue could be done as what you suggested, Becky. It could be, Dear Richmond County.
Yeah.
My name is so-and-so, and here's my story. So we
Right.
have a lot of flexibility in the way that we want to deliver it.
And I think that bridges a gap, you know, because I myself years ago moved to Ontario, for example, and I felt lost. And it was such a different world for me. I mean, I managed to get my way through it because I can, you know, I'm not shy. So, you know, and I'm a musician. So what happens is if you can play an instrument, generally you manage to find yourself in a better spot somewhere because you don't have to actually speak. You can just play your music and they think they know you then. And so, you know, I think the whole thing is a fantastic idea. I wish you guys nothing but success.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. So if anyone wants to contribute ideas for the newsletter or to get involved with the Seniors Take Action Coalition, how do they do it?
Well, in our newsletter, you know, we've provided an email address, which I'm hoping that perhaps you'll be able to kind of put that up on the screen when you're airing the video. So a couple of things. That email address has been set up for people to communicate with Seniors Take Action Coalition. So number one, they can send us an email to receive a copy of the newsletter, but they can also reach out and correspond with us. So if they have an idea that they want to kind of share with us, just fire us the idea, and then one of us will be in touch and we can have a conversation. Now that you've you know, volunteered to run this particular program, they now know that, you know, we're both somebody with whom they can get in touch with. I think a lot of people know how to find me, maybe not as many Julie because she hasn't been around as a lot, but I think almost everyone knows how they can find me, or they know somebody who knows how to find me. So yeah, so if people have ideas for the newsletter, we always are welcome. As far as getting involved with Seniors Take Action Coalition, Dorothy Bernard, who many of you would know because she's been involved with a number of community initiatives, is the current chair of the coalition. And the coalition is now meeting virtually because of COVID, but we meet once a month on Thursday mornings from 10 to 12. And our next meeting will be on March 11th. And people are welcome to join the coalition. It's not a closed group. We encourage people to join. The more people that we have involved, the more work that we can do in our community.
Excellent. Well, if anybody needs to find out how to get a hold of anybody in the coalition, they can also contact me at Telile, and I'll be happy to give them the information.
There you have it.
You can call me, you can email me, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no
do
problem.
you have a copy of the newsletter that you can kind of
I
bring up
do.
and-
I do. It's right here.
That's
Well, I have
great.
it. I have it printed off in pages, but I'm sure that I could have double-sided it and done folding and stuff.
Yeah,
I was
that's
actually
great.
I was actually reading very, very interesting stuff in this newsletter. I was impressed.
Good.
Really impressed.
So that's not the final copy. So before you make several copies for
Oh,
distribution,
I'm not
wait
going to
for
make
the final.
no.
Yeah, wait for the final one.
Yeah, I won't. I won't make copies till you tell me, Celeste.
Yeah, and what Becky has shown is a black and white version, but if you receive it electronically as a PDF, you're going to get it in full color.
Well, I'll see if I can get my color printer working here too, Celeste.
Oh, there you have it. Wouldn't that be great?
I've got some fancy stuff here to work with too.
Good, good.
Anyway, it was a pleasure, ladies. And anytime you want to come on and talk about anything, you know where to find me. And we're here for you.
Well, we really appreciate, Becky, everything that you do for the community, and particularly what you do to kind of advance the work of older persons. I mean, we're excited about a couple of other programs that are going to be coming up that we're going to be doing with Telile as well. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. If only we can
Thank
have a
you.
baking program.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe we can do that too.
Maybe so. I can't bake, Celeste. I'm the worst baker in the world. So anybody that can show me how to make bread, that'd be great.
Oh, I know lots of people that can do that. So
I can't. So
okay. Well, thank you very much again. Appreciate it.
you're welcome anytime.
Okay. See
Have
you
a
all
lovely
later.
day. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.